I'm Pastor Aaron Harris, and this video is about whether it's better for you to buy a new car or a used car. So in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying a new car versus the pros and cons of buying a used car. The average price for a new car is about $48,000. So the average price for a new car is about $20,000 more expensive than the average price for a used car. So the average car payment for a new car is about $700 a month, while the average car payment for a used car is about $500 a month. Interest is really high right now. So the average interest rate that people are getting for new car loans is above 6%. So let's do the math. If you buy a $50,000 car with a 6% interest rate, in that first year, you will pay about $3,000 in interest alone. That averages out to be about $250 a month. And that's just what you're paying in interest. It does not include the principal that you're paying on that loan. One of the benefits of getting a new car is that they usually come with some type of warranty, whether you get it for 1, 2, or 3 years, where they guarantee that if anything goes wrong with your car, you can bring it in and they will fix it. Another thing is that you usually have lower maintenance fees. Most times people just need to get an oil change and that is it. Another benefit is that you would be the first owner of the car, which means there's usually not a lot of hidden things that went on with the car that you do not know about. So many people like the fact that they are less likely to have car trouble and problems when they get a new car. The benefit of a used car is that you pay significantly less for the car, but it gets you from point A to point B the same way that a new car would. Now, some people don't want a used car because they fear that it may break down, or there may be something wrong with it, or it does not come with a warranty, and those are all valid concerns. But remember, the amount of money that you save by buying a used car instead of a new car will offset any cost that you need for maintenance for that car. And right now, it's harder to make a decision on a new car versus a used car than it has ever been. And one of the reasons is because there has been low inventory of cars since the pandemic hit, because there was a shortage of chips that they needed for new cars that they were making. And so since there were not any new cars, for the first time ever, used cars went up in value and price instead of going down. What that means is that there were some used cars that were placed at the same price point as the new cars. When I was going and looking at cars, I realized that some of the cars that was 1 and 2 years old was even more expensive than some of the new cars that were fresh off of the lot. Used cars used to have a 3-year rule where they depreciated in value by about 50% in 3 years. So you could usually go get a car that was 3 or 4 years old, and you can get it for about half the price. And so the old rule of thumb was to wait 3 or 4 years and then go and get a car that is 3 to 4 years old, and you would get it for a bargain instead of making it lose money as soon as you pull off the lot. But recently that has changed as used car prices has gone up. What also makes this decision challenging is the fact that interest rates are so high, meaning that you pay so much money for a used car that you're financing that a lot of people say, I would just rather pay a couple more $100 and at least I'll be in a new car that I actually like. One of the challenges with buying a new car is that many new cars have markups during this time. I remember going to a dealership and seeing a sticker price of $40,000 and the dealership telling me that they were charging $50,000 for for that car that they had a $10,000 markup because there was such low inventory. So one of the recommendations that I have for people looking at a new car is to find a place that is not marking up the price of the new car. The primary factor of whether you should buy a new car or a used car is the amount of resources that you have. How much money do you have? You should not spend more than 5 to 15% of your net income on transportation. So you look at your net income, which is your take-home pay, and you should not spend more than 15% of that on your transportation, which includes your gas, your car insurance, and your car note. Now, most people will say 15% is a small amount and they have to spend more than that on transportation. And you can do that, but then you have to spend less in other places, such as your saving and your investing. And those are key ways that will help you get ahead in your future. And many people get caught in a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck even when they have made more money. Maybe you have a better job, a better career, you got a raise or a promotion, but many people trap themselves in a paycheck to paycheck cycle by paying too much for things like cars. They go out and they get an expensive car that takes up all of their money, then they're not able to save and invest. And I want you to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, even if that means you have to sacrifice by driving an older used car. And some people don't want to go get a used car because they have a fear of breaking down. And I know what it's like for your car to be broke down and you not to have the resources to fix it, but you should not let your fear of breaking down put you in a bad financial situation where you are overpaying for a car and spending more money than you should. What I would recommend if you have to get a used car is to go and get you some good roadside assistance so that if anything happens to your car, that you'll be able to call AAA or you'll be able to call someone and they can come and take care of you. One of the best things that you can do when buying a car is to go and buy a car outright by paying cash for it. Just go ahead, buy the car outright so that you can focus on building your wealth. You can put your money in savings, you can invest that money, and it can help you to be able to get to your dreams. But if you spend too much money on your car, it will actually trap you and keep you from getting to your dreams. So the primary factor in your decision making should be how much of your net income will this car cost you? And if it'll cost you more than 15% of your net income for transportation, then you should look at getting a less expensive car so that you can focus on your future. So I recommend that you make some sacrifices today so that you can live how you want to live tomorrow. We live for the future. And so we enjoy the present, but we prepare for tomorrow. And that's how you can do it with your car, by making sure that you don't spend above 15% of your net income, your take-home income, on transportation. So if you enjoyed this video, then continue watching the videos on my page, which will continually tell you more about financial literacy so that you can reach your financial goals.